The rain had started just before sunset, tapping softly against the windows of the small apartment where 8-year-old Elias sat on the floor building a cardboard castle. His mother hummed in the kitchen while his father searched for an old jazz record they both loved. It felt like an ordinary evening. Warm, quiet, safe. Then came the knocking. Not polite knocks. Hard, angry pounding that shook the front door. Elias looked up. His father froze. Another bang. "Take Elias to the bedroom," his father whispered urgently. His mother grabbed his hand so tightly it hurt. He could feel her trembling as she hurried him down the hallway. But before they reached the room, the front door burst open with a crack like thunder. Men stormed inside wearing dark jackets, their faces cold and unfamiliar. One of them shouted his father's name. Elias peeked around the corner despite his mother trying to shield him. "What do you want?" his father demanded. "You should have stayed quiet," the tallest man replied. Everything happened too fast after that. Yelling, his mother screaming, a gunshot that rang through the apartment like an explosion. Then another. Elias covered his ears and dropped to the floor. When the silence came, it was worse. The men searched the apartment quickly, tossing drawers and papers around. One of them noticed Elias hiding in the hallway. Their eyes met for a brief second. The boy thought he would die too, but the man only stared before turning away. "Leave him," he muttered. Then they disappeared into the rain. Police lights painted the walls red and blue later that night. Neighbors whispered in the hallway, while officers carried blankets and asked questions Elias couldn't answer. He only remembered his father lying still beside the broken record player, and his mother's hand no longer squeezing his. After that, Elias went to live with his grandmother in a quiet town far from the city. People avoided talking about what happened. Whenever he asked why his parents were killed, adults exchanged uncomfortable glances. "Bad people did a bad thing," they would say, but that answer never satisfied him. Years passed. At 16, Elias had grown tall and quiet. He spent most nights reading old newspaper archives online about the murders. The case had never been solved. No arrests, no clear motive. One detail kept bothering him. His father had once been an investigative journalist. One evening, while searching through boxes in his grandmother's attic, Elias found a hidden envelope taped beneath an old drawer. Inside were photographs, notes, and cassette tapes labeled with dates from years before the murders. His hands shook as he played the first tape. His father's voice filled the room. "If anything happens to me, it means they found out." Elias felt his chest tighten. The tapes revealed everything. His father had uncovered evidence against a powerful gang that secretly controlled parts of the city. Drug routes, extortion, murders, even corrupt officials who protected them. He had gathered enough proof to expose all of them publicly, but someone inside the police department leaked his name. The gang came before he could release the evidence. Elias sat frozen in the attic for hours after hearing the final tape. His parents had not died randomly. They died because his father tried to stop dangerous people from hurting others. For the first time since he was 8 years old, Elias understood why the man at the apartment had said, "You should have stayed quiet." His father hadn't stayed quiet, and it cost him everything. But inside the envelope was one final note written directly to him. "Elias, if you're reading this, then I'm sorry I couldn't protect you from the truth. But never let hatred decide your future. What happened to us began with violence and secrets. Don't let your life become another part of that story." Elias read those words over and over through tears. For years he had imagined revenge. He dreamed about finding the men responsible and making them suffer. But now, hearing his father's voice, he realized something deeper. His father died trying to bring truth into the light, not to create more darkness. Months later, Elias handed the evidence to a federal investigator reopening corruption cases connected to the gang. Several former members and officials were eventually arrested. The city called it justice. But for Elias, justice wasn't revenge. It was finally understanding that his parents died as brave people, not victims of meaningless cruelty, but people who chose courage even when they knew the danger. And every year after that, when rain tapped softly against his windows, Elias would sit quietly and play the same old jazz record his father never got to finish that night.